Right now at 5, police make an arrest in the KOAM copper wire theft case.
We've got a few scattered thunderstorms out there this morning. It's going to be hot again with more storms possible tonight. We'll talk about that forecast coming up.
Also, the Carthage City Council wants to see better communication between them and the Board of Electric and Water Plant.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. So thankfully, no power issues this morning. Things are going good so far here at KOAM, which is a great way to start. Don't know if you noticed though, it feels like it's the middle of the afternoon out there right now.
It's so muggy. When I came out my house at 3 a.m. It's like,
yeah,
why is it so hot?
It was bad. It was like walking into the middle of the afternoon. And that's why we now have some scattered thunderstorms across the area. The Skywatch Storm Tracker showing us where those thunderstorms are across the region. We've had some that were in northeast Oklahoma. No strong or severe storms at this point, but pretty good light show from some of these. Those ones in northeast Oklahoma kind of dying out, moving away. We've got some new development taking place across parts of southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri. And then this big sucker, not strong or severe at this point, but plenty of lightning with it, is slowly but surely moving on off to the west. So let's take a look on the local level, what we've got here. We've got this cell just in between, right on the county line in this little triangle shape here from Girard to Fort Scott. And over by Erie, we've got a little shower by Pittsburgh, and we've got one stretching out just to the southwest of Lamar, right on Jasper. And then out to the west around Elk, Chautauqua County, this guy has really gone up in the last hour or so. This is going an hour back. He's not even there, and then just all of a sudden, there he is, and he starts rolling off. And it's the same even with some of these. Not really there, and then all of a sudden, they are. So here's the thing. We could see some strong to severe thunderstorms today. We have a low to elevated risk for hail, a very low tornado threat, but we have an elevated wind risk in that hatched area for winds possible 70, 80 miles an hour. But there's a caveat to this. Our storms this morning could impact the severe threat later today. If our atmosphere doesn't recover enough between now and this evening, we'll still see storms tonight. They just won't do much. But if our atmosphere can recover between now and this evening, we could see a pretty potent line of strong to severe thunderstorms roll through. So this particular future track model is favoring our atmosphere recovering, starting to see at least some clearing out there, and that will allow enough for a line of showers and thunderstorms to start rolling in. It starts getting into our area about 6, 7 o'clock, rolling through. Here we are at 9, and by about 11 o'clock or so, it's pushing on off to the southeast, and by about 1 a.m., 2 a.m., it is out of here. If that's the scenario that unfolds, that's why that wind risk is elevated, and that's why there's that hatched area, because this line could produce some pretty significant wind gusts. But again, it's all contingent on what happens this afternoon and if our air mass recovers enough. So our rain chances this morning, obviously a little bit up there because we've got some scattered storms already. We could see some scattered showers, maybe a couple of storms through the afternoon and into the evening and overnight hours with that line of storms. Again, if it happens the way that thought process is. Right now though, muggy and warm, 76 in Joplin, dew points up at 70, humidity 82% out there. As we look around the region, it is almost 80 degrees off to the north. 77 Nevada, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, 79 in Chanute, 75 in Miami. So as we get our morning started, at least we'll have a few of those showers. Will otherwise be mostly cloudy, pushing near 90 by late morning. We'll have another full look at your forecast and whether or not there's any relief from this heat on the way here in a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. The EPA is checking yards in Baxter Springs, Kansas for lead contamination. Parts of Cherokee County are on the national priorities list due to previous lead contamination. Years ago, the area was home to one of the largest lead and mining districts. After a cleanup effort a few years ago, the EPA is back for more lead testing.
Lead, zinc, and cadmium, they're 3 metals, and those are the primary contaminants of concern associated with the historic mining in this area. And so they're all naturally occurring, and they're the ones that pose the most risk to human health and the environment with regard to the Cherokee County.
The agency also encourages everyone, especially children, to be tested for lead contamination by visiting your local health center. The Carthage City Council says they want to improve communication between them and the Water and Electric Plant Board. That's in the wake of a back and forth between the board and the council that's led to some confusion about whether utility workers could get pay raises. You might recall, at one point, the council decided to dismiss the board members, then they reversed that decision under public pressure. The mayor hopes better communication can help the city avoid similar conflicts in the future.
It's been an ongoing for years. There's been some shortfalls in communication, and we are going to get that taken care of.
The mayor says once the council receives the results of the study, utility workers can expect to see the wage increase in next year's budget. Authorities arrest a man suspected of damaging tens of thousands of dollars in copper wire in the area internet provider. Troy Maples is charged with theft of property, of services, and criminal damage to property, among other crimes. It stems from recent copper wire theft from KOAM Telephone Cooperative. Authorities found Maples just outside of Pittsburgh. KOAM offered a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the suspect in the vandalism and theft. Police say thieves are targeting grounding copper, but they are also cutting fiber. Although the copper thefts yield only a few $100s, the damage caused by cutting fiber is more significant. It can cause outages to services such as 911. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in your first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. MoKan Dragway celebrates 61 years of bringing racing action to the 4 states. Plus, there's been talks of 3D printed meat, but what about 3D printed trees? And why aspartame is now a possible cause of cancer. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More news when we get right back.
Summer offers now until September 30th, 2023.
Well, the MoKan Dragway in Asbury hosts racing events every weekend, but starting today, it's offering motorsport enthusiasts an event that you only get the chance to witness about once a year.
Thursday afternoon, things look pretty calm on the MoKan Dragway track in Asbury, but come this weekend, it'll be far from that.
This is our 61st anniversary event. We've also got Nitro Chaos on hand to help celebrate it. 20 plus nitro powered dragsters, funny cars, altereds, a mix of vehicles, and the main rule is they all have to run nitro methane. Alongside that, our Grand Marshal is local legend, Missouri-based fuel dragster driver Scott Palmer, and he's going to be going for our track record.
These 2 cars here, and there's another one coming this weekend that just got put together. They basically have the same drivetrain, same power output as our NHRA 330 mile an hour top fuel dragster, which has 11,000 plus horsepower. So we put that combination in 2 door cars. They're Pro Mod door cars, but they're half the wheelbase, less than half the wheelbase, and so much wilder. They're just not built for that much horsepower. So you got to have a couple screws loose to put that much horsepower in a little car like this.
Although racers are coming from all over the country, this weekend also offers a look at some of the best driving talent the 4 states has to offer.
In addition to Nitro Chaos, we have a ton of local great racers. We're looking at probably having more than 200 of them out here this weekend. A lot of them have been running out here for years and years. We've got some young guns out there too. And to win a MoKan anniversary race is a really big deal, and especially to the guys that run out here all the time.
Now, the racing gets started tonight, then the finals are on Saturday with cars going over 200 miles an hour competing for $35,000 in prize money. And if you stick around with us when the KOAM Morning News changes on over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., we've got an exciting interview regarding this racing event. In local baseball, Mink League action rolls along for both Joplin and Nevada as we close in on the final week of the regular season. Outlaws at home hosting the Clarinda A's for the final time in the regular season. Go to the top of the first inning. Cole Hill is going to make a nice play here. Catches the line drive and throws it to first for the double play. Now we're going to go to the top of the 4th. Luke Stout of Clarinda hits this sharply to right field, RBI single. Clarinda leads 3-0. The A's were up 5-1 going in the 5th inning, but here come the Outlaws. Caden Bressler sends this ball to center. Cole Hill scores. Joplin down 5-2. Next batter, Colton Reynolds. He's going to keep this ball fair down the line. Caden Bressler will end up scoring on that one. RBI double by Reynolds makes it a 5-3 ball game. Outlaws score a bunch of runs late. They come back to win it 7-5. Meanwhile, things not quite as good for the Griffins. Nevada hosting Jefferson City, and they fall 16-6. Things were off from the jump. The Renegades scored a run in each of the first 5 innings. That was more than enough to get the job done. Still to come, from normal items like cell phones and laptops to unusual items like microwaves and mannequins. We're going to take you inside the Lost Property Office in London to learn more about how lost items are returned in a city of 9 million. Plus, still hot, still got storm chances out there. We're going to take another full look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:16 now on this Friday morning. Finally Friday here in the 4 states. Got some scattered storms out there. We've got this little line of scattered thunderstorms across parts of southwest Missouri, even back into southeast Kansas. And we got this big cell out here, lots of lightning with it. Starting to pick up some small hail out there, but it's still not quite strong or severe at this point. Let's take a close look at these guys, stretching back from Lamar, just to the north of Girard and just north of Chanute. Nothing crazy going on, and as you can see, just a couple lightning strikes being picked up. This one, though, a little more electrical, not strong or severe yet, but it is continuing to roll on off to the east. So if it holds together, it will eventually track just kind of due easterly across the area. And then we've got these cells you can see firing up pretty quickly, and they're rolling off a little more northeasterly across the area. So we'll keep an eye on all these storms this morning. Not expect anything too crazy out there. However, as we head into the later evening hours, we do have a low to elevated hail threat across the area. Very low tornado threat at this time. And then we've got that elevated wind risk again in this hatched area, indicating where we could see more significant wind gusts in that 70 to 80 mile an hour range. But all of that is contingent on this morning's storms, what it does to our atmosphere. So as we head into the afternoon, this particular future track showing one of 2 possible scenarios. This one's showing a little more clearing taking place ahead of thunderstorm development out in Kansas later this evening. By 7, 8 o'clock, we get this line of strong, possibly severe thunderstorms with some damaging winds in there, kind of sweeping through the area as we go late evening and into the early overnight hours. If this line materializes the way that this future track model shows, it could bring us some pretty intense wind gusts out there and could be a pretty nasty line. But if our air mass does not recover sufficiently between now and this evening, we may still get thunderstorms, but they may not have nearly the same punch out there. So our rain chances, we fluctuate with scattered storm chances through the day, and then they'll pick up later this evening with that possible line that could roll through the area. Right now in Joplin, it is warm, it is muggy, 76, dew point 70, 82% humidity. And as we look across the area, again, look at this. We got 79 in Chanute at 5 a.m., 77 Nevada, 77 Pittsburgh, 75 Miami, and 74 Neosho. We get our morning started. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies. Again, a few scattered showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms near 90 by late morning. Highs today right around the low to mid 90s. Heat index values could still be up there, upwards close to 100. We'll have mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies. And then again, going off the possibility of that line developing, we'll start to see increasing thunderstorm chances as we head into the evening hours. We'll eventually drop back down into the lower 70s tonight. Could see a few stray storms early morning Saturday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, 90, 94 Sunday. So not a lot of relief from the heat. And as we head into next week, some pop-up storm chances out there and temperatures returning to around 100 degrees. Well, the rise of 3D printers is transforming what we make and how we make it, from buildings to medical devices, fashion, food, and more. But if you've got a sweet tooth, listen up. Marianne Rafferty takes a look at the 3D printed desserts that could be the food of the future.
They may look like action figures, but they're actually desserts of the future. Los Angeles-based company Sugar Lab calls itself a digital bakery, which uses a specially modified 3D printer to create edible sweet treats using, you guessed it, sugar.
3D printing has the potential to really remake almost every industry that we can imagine, and food is one of them.
From your favorite animated characters to company logos and even custom designs, this printer can do it all.
One day these things are going to be in like everyone's kitchen. Not tomorrow, but sooner than we think.
And while other 3D printers are being used to make meat and fish products, Sugar Lab says theirs is the only one in the world certified by the National Science Foundation, an independent government agency.
And it's the only one that operates at scale. So we can print thousands and thousands of product overnight and have it ready for the chefs in the morning. And that's the really key difference between this technology and other 3D printers.
But just because these edible masterpieces are made by technology, the computers aren't the only ones doing the heavy lifting.
It really takes working with a chef and having a goal, researching what ingredients you want, sourcing them, bringing them in-house, mixing them up, tasting them, before they even go into the 3D printer.
Now, the desserts can be used as cake toppers, add flavor to your favorite drinks, and even be stuffed with different fillings. That brings us to our question for you this morning. Would you try 3D printed food? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. Make sure you take time to vote through our website at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also vote through the KOAM News Now app and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We will be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. Most people in the U.S. don't know they can call, text, or send a chat message to 988 to reach licensed counselors and train people to de-escalate a mental health crisis. That's according to a new poll from the National Alliance on Mental Illness. The 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline can also help provide emotional support or connect callers with additional mental health resources. The Lifeline, formerly known as the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, changed last year from the number 1-800-273-TALK to the 3-digit number 988. The poll found more than 80% of U.S. adults were either unfamiliar with or had never heard of 988. Only 17% were very or somewhat familiar with the service. The World Health Organization Cancer Agency says the sweetener is possible cause for cancer. Aspartame is found in diet soda, sugar substitute, and many other grocery items. It's now in a category of more than 300 other possible cancer-causing agents, including aloe vera extract. A separate group of experts looking at the same evidence said it still considers the sugar substitute safe as long as it's ingested in limited quantities. If you want to keep your brain healthy as you get older, be sure to check your eyes every year. According to a new study, people with untreated visual impairments were significantly more likely to develop dementia. Researchers looked at data from the 2021 National Health and Aging Trends Study in the United States. It included nearly 3,000 people older than 71. They were given iPad tests for near and distant vision, as well as contrast sensitivity. They were then screened for dementia. According to the study, 12% showed signs of dementia. An estimated 26 million women of reproductive age in the U.S. have uterine fibroids. Many might not even know they have it, but for those who have symptoms, these non-cancerous tumors can cause severe pain and have a significant impact on the quality of life. Mandy Gather has more on the treatment options and why one woman says it's critical to advocate for your health.
For Tiffany Miller, heavy menstrual bleeding has always been a problem, but about 5 years ago, she says she started having constant pain and it grew to be unbearable.
I knew something was wrong. I just always had this stabbing pain, specifically on my left side. Sometimes I could barely breathe.
After seeing 2 different Washington, D.C. doctors, Miller says she was told it was likely a gastrointestinal issue, but that diagnosis didn't feel right. After researching her symptoms online, Miller found the Center for Fibroid Care at NYU Langone Health.
I see a lot of women not realizing that they're growing these massive tumors.
Through a pelvic MRI, Dr. Tara Sharazian discovered Miller had 8 uterine fibroids, including one the size of a large grapefruit pushing on her internal organs. Miller wants children one day, so she opted to have the fibroids removed, which spared her fertility. Shirazian says women need to know they have options for fibroid treatment.
Everything from a medication to reduce her bleeding or reduce the size of the fibroids, to a procedure that can shrink the fibroids in some way, to surgery that can remove the fibroids or remove the uterus, or she can just monitor them.
2 weeks after surgery, Miller was back to doing what she loves. She says she's been pain-free ever since.
If you're having consistent chronic pain, that's your body letting you know that something may be wrong.
Since fibroids can grow back, Miller continues to see her doctor and is participating in a study at NYU Langone Health to see if her lifestyle changes, including being active, having a healthy diet, and managing weight, can prevent the growth of new fibroids. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves a few scattered thunderstorms across the area. This may or may not impact our storm chances later today. We'll take a look at that forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, some folks in the area had a lesson in culture and heritage.
We got a few scattered thunderstorms out there this morning, and then we could see additional strong to severe storms later this evening. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
Also, the Carthage Water and Electric Plant hosts an ice cream social to celebrate 125 years in operation.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:31. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. So it is warm, it is muggy, it's almost hot outside for this time of day. And that's because we've got scattered thunderstorms in the area. That humidity's still high. We still have some energy to work out with these thunderstorms, and they're trying to take some of it at least. Skywatch Storm Tracker showing us where we've got scattered thunderstorms, and you can see there's almost an eye where there's no activity, a little diamond shape there. But we've got these strong, or it's not strong storms yet, but we do have thunderstorms out to the west, just now entering Elk, Chautauqua counties. We got a few scattered storms in parts of southeast Kansas back into southwest Missouri. And then we've got a few more back now getting into northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. And here's that little diamond they formed. So here's a look at these storms. You can see some lightning strikes here and there. No strong or severe weather with this activity right now, stretching again from Lamar, north of Girard, south of Fort Scott, and this little guy just to the north of Chanute. And then out to the west, this guy really has blossomed out there. A lot of lightning with this storm. Not strong or severe at this point, but we'll keep an eye on it because it's really picked up. And watch this loop from an hour ago to now, how quickly that guy just really took off. It's initially it was moving east, but if you look in the last couple of frames, it looks like it's trying to turn maybe more southeasterly. And this activity trying to slowly lift off to the north and to the east. So here's the thing. There's a caveat with this severe threat. So let's talk about what we do have as a possibility. We got a very low tornado risk. We do have a low to elevated hail risk across the area. And then as we saw yesterday and could see again later this evening, we have an elevated wind risk with these hatched marks indicating where we could see winds 70 to 80 miles an hour. However, here's the catch. This morning's activity could work over our atmosphere, which would mean there wouldn't be as much instability later this evening as what is possibly expected. So this future track is going off possibility number 2, that we recover, our air mass recovers and destabilizes enough to bring in a line of strong to severe thunderstorms later this evening. Here it is at 7. By 8, 9 o'clock, it is rolling through the area and plowing off to the southeast, and that's when we could see the risk for those strong, damaging wind gusts out there. But if our atmosphere doesn't recover, we could still see some scattered storms. They just wouldn't carry as much of a punch. So we'll keep an eye on our thunderstorm chances this evening. We'll keep an eye on the thunderstorms this morning and tell you if we're going to get any relief from this heat in a full forecast here in a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. Thursday morning storms left scattered damage. In Carthage, a number of trees and limbs were down. This video is from a neighborhood near 162 Road and Oak Street in Carthage. Across the state line, Crawford County, Kansas reported a number of water rescues as well. MoDOT says the I-44 bridge near Fidelity is now repaired and all lanes and ramps are open. The bridge was damaged last month when an oversized crane went under it on the State Highway 59 and struck the bridge girders. The girders and the concrete surrounding them were damaged, but MoDOT engineers at the time determined the bridge to be structurally sound, which it still needed repairs, which are now completed now. Some area folks had a lesson in culture and heritage. On Thursday, Missouri Humanities hosted a cultural heritage workshop in Joplin. It was a way for community members to brainstorm ways to increase engagement and better utilize community assets. The day consisted of group discussions, activities, and a two-part presentation.
Recognize what makes a place unique and special and how best to incorporate people and incorporate stories and places all kind of in this amalgamation of ideas and how to best present that to people, how to get people more engaged in places. And so I think that really helps with the idea of cultural heritage.
The workshop was free. The workshop also discussed Route 66 100th anniversary in Joplin. We want to thank all of you who pledged donations during yesterday's Hero Fund telethon. During our earlier newscast, we worked with volunteers to accept your phone-in contributions to help support first responders in the 4 states. You, your neighbors, and sponsors pledged thousands of dollars that would help buy items such as a bulletproof vest, firefighting equipment, and tools that help first responders who dedicate their professions to helping all of us. Area first responders are thankful for having a community that leans on them.
The work and grinding it out. I feel like when you have a passion for your job, you don't go to work a day in your life. And that's how I felt. I've loved every minute of working as a firefighter. Exceptional crews, exceptional people to work with, and getting to go out and do something, give back to the community. And maybe it's just a small way one day.
Thanks to all the sponsors and first responders who manned the phone banks, and again, thanks to all of you who gave what you could. The Carthage Water and Electric Plant celebrates 125 years of operation. They hosted an ice cream social on Thursday. In addition to the sweet treats, it also featured live music, a dunk tank, bucket truck rides, and old-fashioned games.
It really feels good. No matter what happens in life, when you have some adversity, you come out of that stronger and better off, and I think our entire community is better today, and we look forward to growing and becoming stronger as a utility in a city, moving forward to make our community the best place to live in Southwest Missouri.
The social was at Central Park. Kids in Miami were jumping for joy. The Iowa County Farmers Market hosted a jump rope competition. There were different parts to the event, including the longest jumping without breaking and how many jumps you can get in 30 seconds. Everyone who participated got a free jump rope and received free gift cards. Pretty awesome.
Jump rope was a sport that gave me an outlet my whole life. I stuck out in middle school, high school. I wasn't like anybody else, and all I want to do is give back to the kids and say, whatever it is that you want to do, go for it and never give up in it. Even if someone says you can't do that or jump rope's not going to take you anywhere, well, it's taken me pretty far. So I just want to inspire kids to never give up, whatever it is.
After the competition, there was a performance of the jump roping skills by the Learning the Ropes group. This morning, we are discussing 3D printed food. Yummy.
Yeah, we're going to show you some of this 3D printed food here in a moment. They may look, there they are. Look at these guys. They look like action figures, don't they? But they're actually desserts of the future. Los Angeles-based company Sugar Lab calls itself a digital bakery, which uses a specially modified 3D printer to create edible sweet treats using, you guessed it, sugar. From your favorite animated characters to company logos and even custom designs, this printer can do it all.
And while other 3D printers are being used to make meat and fish products, Sugar Lab says theirs is the only one in the world certified by the National Science Foundation, an independent government agency. But just because these edible masterpieces are made by technology, the computers aren't the only ones doing the heavy lifting.
It takes a big team to take care of all of that. And that brings us to our question for you this morning. Would you try 3D printed foods? So far, We have 20% of you saying that you would, 80% of you say that you would not. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and take part in discussion on our Facebook page.
Well, and that's a look at all our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. How do zoo animals keep cool in the heat? We'll have the answer.
Plus, does your favorite shirt have a hole in it? Yeah, I've got a couple like that. Well, no need to toss it out if you're in France at least, as they'll pay you to repair it. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch. An Italian court ruling finding a school janitor is not guilty of groping a student because the act only lasted under 10 seconds has sparked outrage on social media. Italians, like this Italian influencer, are posting videos of themselves touching a sensitive part of their body for 10 seconds, marked by a timer. It's meant to show that it's actually a fairly long period, which can make people uncomfortable and change a person's life. The judge said they acquitted a 66-year-old man of sexual assault because the whole thing lasted about 5 to 10 seconds. The then 17-year-old girl testified that it happened in April of last year as she was climbing the staircase at school with a friend. She testified she pulled up her trousers and felt a hand tucked inside under her briefs, touching her buttocks. According to her testimony, the janitor said, quote, "Love, you know I was joking." France is hoping to cut waste and pollution from the textile industry by paying people to repair their clothing and shoes. The Secretary of State for Ecology announced the plan on Tuesday. It will be offered the equivalent of $7 to $28 per item to cover the cost of repairs depending on how complex the repair would be. Restricting a shirt would qualify for a rebate of €6, while resoling a pair of shoes would qualify for a rebate of €25. The French government says 700,000 tons of clothing, shoes, and household linens are thrown away each year by French citizens. 2/3 of that winds up in the landfills. London is home to one of the largest public transportation networks, including the iconic double-decker buses, the tube, and even the city's black cabs. With millions of the journeys taken by every day, you can bet some interesting things get left behind. Carly Carson explores the lost and found.
Mind the gap.
If you leave something behind on one of London's trains or buses, there's a good chance it ends up here.
And we do process every item that comes within the lost property department.
6,000 items a week are brought in and painstakingly documented, detailing what, when, and where they were lost.
So it's just suitcases all the way down the wall?
Suitcases and big bags.
There's things you'd expect: bikes, scooters.
So every envelope has a mobile phone.
And it's London, so lots of umbrellas. Then there's the unexpected: musical instruments, diapers.
A wedding dress when I started. So we made up stories about the bride, whether she was jilted or she ran off.
Even a jar of Nutella.
So in this cabinet, it is full of alcohol.
Somebody lost one lone Budweiser.
Something like we may class like this is just an item that they're probably not going to pick it up, but for maybe that customer, it's important for them.
Anything left in a cab comes here too. Philomena Martino got her wallet back. All the money still inside.
The whole system, I think, is really good.
Only about 10% of these items will reunite with their owners, but the fact that they're here,
it gives faith in humankind,
means that leaving something behind doesn't always equal the end of the line. Riley Carlson, CBS News, London.
Items are kept in a lost property office for 3 months. After that, they are either donated or auctioned off. That's a look at some of your top headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Let's go places.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:47 now on this finally Friday in the 4 states. Some scattered storms out there. We've got this cell in Barton County, another in Bourbon County. Not a ton of lightning with those, but definitely there. And you can see where they're stretching here, just to the south of Fort Scott and just immediately north or just barely on top of Lamar right now. And then out to the west, we got this big guy. He's not strong or severe, but lots and lots of lightning with this storm. Look at all of that out there. All of that activity to the west is moving progressively to the east, and this activity here is moving off to the northeast, and we're seeing additional development just to the east of Tulsa that's trying to roll off east and northeast as well. These scattered thunderstorms this morning could play a significant role in our threat for severe weather later this evening. So right now we have very low tornado risk, we have a low to elevated hail risk, and we have an elevated wind risk across the entire area, and these hatch marks indicating where we could see some significant wind gusts upwards of 70 to 80 miles an hour. But that is all highly contingent on what these storms do to our atmosphere this morning. If they work it over enough, we could see some showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms this evening, but they won't really do much other than rain on us, which is great. We need the rain. But if our atmosphere recovers this afternoon, we could see a line of pretty potent, strong, to severe thunderstorms roll through this evening. So this future track model right now is going off of the atmosphere managing to recover. So we're going to show you that possible scenario. We could see some clearing later this afternoon. If we do so, the atmosphere destabilizes enough. By 7 o'clock, the leading edge of this line of strong to severe thunderstorms starts sweeping into the area. By 9, you can see where it's located back from Coffeyville, Parsons, Pittsburgh, Lamar, Nevada, and Stockton, and it will continue to roll through. By 11, the worst of it goes off to the south and east, so Grove, Anderson, Bentonville, Cassville, and then we start to see some scattered storms behind it, but by about 2, 3 a.m., it's all gone. That's if our air mass destabilizes enough. If it doesn't, we'll see some storms, but they won't necessarily have the same potency. Not to say they couldn't be strong, but they won't have that same potency. So our rain chances fluctuate with some scattered shower and thunderstorm chances, possible even into the afternoon, and then they'll pick up later this evening. Our camera, 7th and range line, we've got some cloudy skies out there in Joplin, warm and muggy, 76, dew point 70, humidity 82%. Temperatures around the region, 78 in Nevada, Fort Scott, 79 in Chanute, 80 now in Lamar, 77 Chatopa, 75 Miami, and 74 in Neosho. We get our morning started. Cloudy skies, few of these scattered storms out there, near 90 by late morning. Highs low to mid 90s, mostly cloudy skies. Again, a few scattered showers, maybe a couple of storms out there. And then there's that possibility for that line of storms tonight working into the area, and we'll eventually drop back down in the lower 70s. Maybe an early morning thunderstorm or two Saturday, and then otherwise mostly cloudy, 90, so a brief break from the heat. We're going to go low to mid 90s Sunday, Monday. We're tossing into the hundreds as we head toward the middle of next week, and we've got some additional pop-up storm chances. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
People aren't the only ones learning how to deal with this record heat, but with the help of zookeepers, El Paso Zoo animals are also trying to stay cool. Jennifer Cubas is at the zoo with more on this story.
Kind of sprawl out in the shade and keep their bellies nice and cool. They'll dig holes where it's a lot cooler underneath the sand.
As record-breaking temperatures continue in the borderland, everyone is looking for ways to stay cool, including the animals at the El Paso Zoo. Carrie Trudeau is the zoo's animal training and enrichment coordinator. She says while the meerkats have the natural instinct to look for ways to stay cool, the zookeepers are making sure to give them an extra hand on extremely hot days.
We make little ice pops for a lot of our different animals. It just kind of gives them a nice cool treat, just like how little kids like popsicles and stuff in the summer.
And it's not only for the meerkats. Mountain lions get to enjoy a frozen blood popsicle, and the tortoises get to enjoy frozen berries that are prepared in advance by the zookeepers.
This is just one of the novel ways that we can present their food to them. And even if they don't go at it right away and start chomping on it, it's still something different that we can add to their environment.
While some animals require just small ice treats during the day to keep cool in these triple-digit temperatures, other larger animals require just a bit more work and attention.
There you go. Although the heat is the same for everybody, Trudeau says the animals definitely have it easier than those looking after them.
Well, I know I'm definitely struggling with the heat, definitely struggling with this mane. Imagine what it's like to be a lion. Jeez. Well, anyways, we'll be right back.
Forever at Roper Honda.
Well, talk about buried treasure. More than 700 rare gold Civil War era coins were found last month in a field in Kentucky. The collection is being called the Great Kentucky Hoard. The coins date back between 1840 and 1863 and consist of U.S. gold dollars and gold Liberty coins. They were now valued at around $2 million. Experts say they may have been buried because it was common for people to bury their money during the Civil War era. While the name of the lucky finder and the exact location will not be released, the coins are available for sale at government.com. But they will not be cheap. Some were going for nearly $1,000. You have to act fast as some are already out of stock. A rare coarse flower is in bloom at the Amazon spheres in downtown Seattle. Amazon workers named the plant Morticia. The plants only bloom every 5 to 10 years on average, and they're known for giving off a smell like rotten flesh. Ugh. The blooms last 48 hours, and the peak viewing time is during the first 24 hours. Morticia started blooming last Wednesday night. All viewings were booked Thursday as visitors poured in to watch. Morticia's first bloom was in late October in 2018.
We've got ourselves some thunderstorms out there this morning. We're looking to be otherwise mostly cloudy as we go through the morning and warming up quickly. We go near 90 by 11. Highs today low to mid 90s. Will be mostly cloudy, maybe a few scattered showers, a couple of thunderstorms possible. And depending on how much our atmosphere can recover, we're looking at the possibility of a line of strong to severe thunderstorms pushing through later this evening. So something we'll keep an eye on for you. We'll go back to low 70s. A brief break from the heat, at least a little bit. 90 tomorrow, mostly cloudy. Starting to heat back up by Sunday as we head into next week. Pop-up storm chances across the area, and unfortunately temperatures rebounding to near 100 degrees. That's a quick check here forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM morning news right after this.
Right now at 6, if you plan to hit the interstate this weekend, MoDOT gives the green light to travel on the I-44 bridge near Fidelity, including all lanes and ramps.
We've got a beautiful sunrise from our camera at 7th and Rangeline. Some scattered thunderstorms out there. We're going to be hot again today, and these storms this morning could play a big part in our storms later today. We'll look at that forecast coming up.
Also, the four-state area responds to the call and made the First Responders Safety Giving Day a resounding success through generous donations and support for the men and women who keep us safe.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 6 a.m. on this finally Friday in the four states, and we are starting the day like we did yesterday, warm and muggy. Yes. But the thunderstorms, we have them, but they're a little bit later than what they were yesterday as well. And of course, we dealt with some pretty intense thunderstorms yesterday morning.
Sure did.
And we've got a few thunderstorms out there now. We've got some into parts of southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas, and we got that bigger cell that is over by Elk and Chautauqua County. That guy's really gotten going. Here, these storms, we're not even picking up lightning on these at this point, but we do have one there. You can see northeastern Barton County, and then a little smaller one here in southeastern Bourbon County. And then out to the west, Elk, Chautauqua County, we got this big cell. Not strong, not severe, believe it or not, but boy, look at the lightning that thing is putting on. Now, these storms up here are moving roughly off to the northeast. This storm here was moving easterly. It's trying to turn kind of southeasterly, but this portion of it is moving kind of an east-northeasterly. So we'll have these scattered storms as we head through the early morning hours today. Then later today, we have a severe threat, but it is highly contingent on these storms this morning. We'll talk about that in just a second. Very low tornado risk, a low to elevated hail risk, and we have an elevated wind risk for the entire area, and these hatch marks here indicating where we could see some significant wind gusts, 70, 80 miles an hour. But it's all contingent on these storms this morning. These storms, if they work over our atmosphere enough, then they'll lessen our severe risk later this evening. We could still see some stronger storms, but the severe threat will be lower. But if they don't work it over enough, or if our atmosphere recovers enough today, it could get a little nasty this evening. So this future track going off of probability or possibility number 2 shows this line of strong to severe thunderstorms by 6, 7 o'clock, working into the area by 8, 9. It's moving through southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri by 11. The strongest portion of it is out of here. By 2 and 3, those storms are gone. So that's a couple of scenarios we're going to keep an eye on. And of course, we'll watch these storms this morning in case they decide to get a little crazy. And we'll have more on your full forecast here in a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. Thursday morning storms left scattered damage across the area. In Carthage, storms downed a number of trees and limbs. This video is from a neighborhood near 162 Road and Oak Street in Carthage. Across the state line, Crawford County, Kansas reported a number of water rescues as well. MoDOT gives the go-ahead to travel on the I-44 bridge near Fidelity and reopens all lanes and ramps. The bridge was damaged last month when an oversized crane went under it on State Highway 59 and struck the bridge girders. The girders and the concrete surrounding them were damaged, but MoDOT engineers at the time determined the bridge should be structurally sound. Still, it needed repairs, in which is now complete. Authorities arrest a man suspected of damaging tens of thousands of dollars in copper wire belonging to an area internet provider. Troy Maples is charged with theft of property and services and criminal damage to property and other crimes. It stems from recent copper wire theft from KOAM Telephone Cooperative. Authorities found Maples just outside of Pittsburgh. KOAM offers a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the suspect in the vandalism and theft. Police say the thieves are targeting ground copper because they are also cutting fiber. Although the copper thefts yield only a few $100s, the damage caused by cutting fiber is more significant. It can also cause outages to services such as 911. Someone just hit the pause button on your favorite movies and TV shows. The union representing Hollywood actors just went on strike. Negotiations between the Screen Actors Guild and the organization representing major production studios broke down this week as concern over compensation related to streaming and artificial intelligence are taking center stage. Jared Hill has the latest.
Hollywood is now at a standstill. Actors leaving premieres and productions to join writers on the picket line.
If we go on strike, we'll pack up and go home.
The cast of Oppenheimer left their premiere in London once the strike was announced. Fran Drescher, the president of SAG-AFTRA, says the union is pushing studios to take into account major shifts in the business brought on by technology.
To try and think that by just making incremental changes on a contract that was forged since 1960, before there was internet, before there was digital, is crazy.
The main sticking points include increases in basic pay, higher residuals for streaming content, and protections surrounding the use of AI.
We're talking about the potential for them to be able to use our name, our likeness, our movements, our voice for future projects without our consent.
The group representing studios and streaming services said in a statement the move will, quote, deepen the financial hardship for thousands who depend on the industry. The economic fallout already being felt as work dries up for companies that rent equipment to make shows and movies. Businesses just now bouncing back from the pandemic.
The struggles for us during this is, just making our rent. Paying our bills. The camera equipment is extraordinarily expensive.
The first strike of its kind in decades could impact the industry for years to come. Jared Hill, CBS News.
SAG-AFTRA represents more than 160,000 screen actors, broadcast journalists, announcers, hosts, and stunt performers, but this walkout affects only the union's actors from television and film productions. You can see all this breaking news and weather and sports just by downloading the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. The Carthage Water and Electric Plant celebrates 125 years of operation. They hosted an ice cream social on Thursday. Outside the sweet treats, it also featured live music, a dunk tank, bucket truck rides, and old-fashioned games.
We've got all the ice cream you can eat. We got a lot of toppings. We've got some an area where you can play some games, get some prizes. We have live music, and we even have a dunk tank so that we can drop some of our folks in the water, which just happened. So all the kids get to throw some of our employees in the water, which tonight probably feels pretty good.
The social happened at Central Park. We want to thank everyone in the 4-state area who pledged donations during yesterday's Heroes Fund Telethon. All during Thursday's newscast, we worked with volunteers to accept your phone-in contributions to help support first responders in the area. You, your neighbors, and sponsors pledged thousands of dollars that would help buy such items as bulletproof vests, firefighting equipment, tools that will help protect first responders so they can better protect us. Area first responders are thankful for a supportive community.
The work and grinding it out. I feel like when you have a passion for your job, you don't go to work a day in your life. And that's how I felt. I've loved every minute of working as a firefighter. Exceptional crews, exceptional people to work with, and getting to go out and do something, give back to the community in maybe it's just a small way one day.
Thanks to all the sponsors and first responders who manned the phone banks, and thanks again to all of you for giving. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in your first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Already available in more than 100 countries, an over-the-counter birth control pill will soon be available to women in America after approval from the Food and Drug Administration. Plus, the Department of Justice heads to Georgia to conduct an investigation sparked by the death of an inmate in the Fulton County Jail. And Chris returns with another look at the forecast and if storms will follow us into the weekend. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Sonic 2 for $7 House. $2.99 strawberry shortcake snowball slush float. Sonic.
Top in Nature Watch this morning. An investigation is underway in New Jersey after police reportedly shot a man who has been accused of stealing gas near Newark. Bellevue police were called to the gas station early Thursday morning. The attendant said he pumped the suspect's gas and the man left without paying. When the attendant called the police, he says they told him they already stopped the suspect after he ran a red light. They say the suspect drove away as they approached him, striking 2 police cars and a parked car. Police shot at the suspect, but he got away. He was later found with an apparent gunshot wound and taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Boston police are investigating the shooting death of a 12-year-old boy Thursday afternoon in an apartment house. Investigators would not comment on whether there were other people in the home at the time or whether they were actively seeking a suspect. City and state law enforcement officers were seen canvassing the neighborhood on foot, and part of a nearby basketball court was blocked off by yellow tape. The mayor says a child of this age should be enjoying the summer.
This is especially a nightmare for a mom and for a family, and I just want to send our deepest condolences to loved ones and family who are grieving what no family should have to grieve.
The mayor also appealed to the public to turn in any illegal guns to help combat gun violence. Police are asking the public to call them or Boston Crime Stoppers if they have any information about the shooting that could help this investigation. The U.S. government is set to pay out $975,000 to settle a civil sexual assault case against a former senior general. The years-long legal action involves sexual assault allegations against the former vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs Staff General John Hyten. Colonel Carton Slintor alleged sexual assault and battery against Hyten in 2019. The allegations, spanning 9 incidents from February 2017 to February 2018, were made public when Hyten was nominated by then-President Donald Trump to be the second most senior U.S. military officer in the nation. The Air Force cleared Hyten of 9 allegations of sexual misconduct in 2019 after a criminal investigation. An investigation into conditions at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta is now underway. The U.S. Department of Justice announced the investigation Thursday, officials citing last year's death of Desmond LaShawn Thompson, a mentally ill man whose body was found infested with bugs and lice. Doug Ferguson has the story.
People held in jails and prisons do not surrender their constitutional and civil rights at the jailhouse door.
Justice Department officials cited images taken by 11 Alive News and others showing flooding conditions inside the jail, temporary bedding on cell block floors, and chronically overcrowded conditions at the Fulton County Jail. They also cited the death of inmate LaShawn Thompson in September, whose body was found covered with insects. The Justice Department will investigate living conditions, medical access, use of excessive force by jail staff, and incidents of violence among inmates, with an eye on the mental health care of inmates.
We'll also examine whether the Fulton County Jail discriminates against incarcerated people with psychiatric disabilities.
Attorneys and families of LaShawn Thompson say he suffered from mental health issues prior to the arrest that put him in Fulton County's jail for the last time. Sheriff Patrick Labatt, who ran for sheriff as a jail reformer, says he has bolstered mental health programs but is hamstrung by an aging facility that houses hundreds more inmates than it was built to hold. Justice officials say they expect Labatt to cooperate with their investigation.
Our investigation will be independent, thorough, and fair. We have not drawn and will not draw any conclusions until our investigation is complete.
DOJ officials say they are aiming for a consent decree with the Fulton County, which could allow the county to fix conditions under DOJ's guidance. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
We've got some scattered thunderstorms out there. We do have one strong storm now in Chautauqua County. We'll take a look at that and your complete forecast when we come back.
Sign up today for the Rich Brewer Memorial Golf Scramble July 15th.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6:19 on this finally Friday in the 4 states. Still got some scattered thunderstorms and showers across the area. We've got this shower now into northeastern Barton County, and as it continues to lift off toward the northeast, no lightning being picked up, but at least a fair amount of rain falling with that. Our bigger storm is this guy down in Chautauqua County and going into northeastern Oklahoma. There's now what they call a significant weather advisory. It's just indicating, at least in southern Chautauqua County, got some winds upwards of about 40 miles an hour and some nickel-sized hail with this. And this is continuing to push off to the southeast. However, this little guy has branched off of the parent storm and is rolling east, and he's got a fair amount of lightning with him as well, but he's not strong or severe at this point. This activity will continue to move on out of the area and then eventually leave us mostly cloudy, but this activity is going to play a pivotal role in this later this evening. So right now, we have a very low tornado risk. We do have a low to elevated hail risk, and we have an elevated wind risk across the entire area, and these hatch marks indicating the possibility of significant winds of 70, 80 miles an hour out there. That's basing on one possibility, and there are two. These thunderstorms this morning could take all the energy out of our atmosphere. And then later this evening, we'll get some scattered showers and storms. A couple could be strong, but they won't have nearly the same punch as if our atmosphere manages to recover. And that's the other possibility. The atmosphere could recover, rebuild that energy, and allow for some strong to severe thunderstorms to roll through later this evening. This future track right now is going off of that possibility that we start to clear out a bit in the evening or the late afternoon hours, and that'll be just enough to allow our atmosphere to recover ahead of a line of storms that'll develop off across north central Kansas that will race through the area through the evening hours, and this could be strong to severe with that threat for damaging wind gusts as the primary risk with this line of storms. So here it is at 9, we go to 11, it's starting to shove off to the southeast, and and it's moving pretty quickly, and then by about 2 a.m. all we're left with is a couple of scattered showers, and by 3 it is out of here. So that's one possibility. The other is we get storms, and they could be strong, but they won't be that impactful. So we'll have to see what plays out through the day. All right, rain chances picking up. We'll have scattered ones as we could see a few additional scattered showers, thunderstorms for some of us. They'll really pick up this evening where that line could possibly show up at. And we got a nice view from our camera at 7th and Range Line. We're sitting at 75 in Joplin, dew point 69. Humidity is 82%. We're sitting at 80 Lamar, 74 Pittsburgh, 75 Miami, and 74 Neosho. And a quick look at our 7-day forecast. We got highs today, low to mid 90s. We're going 90 tomorrow, 94 Sunday. And we start to return to near our at 100 next week with more pop-up storms next week as well. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
with people to live healthier lives.
Topping Health Watch this morning. The pandemic brought a significant increase in cannabis emergencies for people younger than 25. The Centers for Disease Control says that includes children under 10, with more than 70 visits to emergency rooms each week by the middle of 2022. The CDC says adults should keep cannabis locked away, especially edibles, which may look like candy. A new study finds older adults with razor-sharp memory can also move more quickly than their peers. Research at the Lancet Journal tracked people in their 80s known as superagers. The group, resistant to memory decline, was not only speedier than others in their age, but they also had better mental health. And for people with severe depression that doesn't improve with therapy or medication, the anesthetic ketamine might offer some relief. A study found in the British Journal looked at a clinical trial involving 179 people with treatment-resistant depression. After a month of generic ketamine injections, 1 in 5 had a total remission from their symptoms. A third of patients saw an improvement of at least 50%. Federal health officials have approved the first over-the-counter birth control pill. The FDA decision means once-a-day Opill can be sold without a prescription. Janet Shalam reports the approval comes as states have passed laws that restrict women's reproductive rights.
The daily pill called Opill, which has been available in this country by prescription for 50 years, could be on store shelves without a prescription by early next year.
How big of a deal is this? I think it's a really big deal, yeah. Young women.
Dr. Pamela Behrens is an OBGYN and professor at UT Health Houston.
I think having access to birth control is really important for women, and this is another way to get easier access.
More than 3/4 of U.S. women under age 50 in a recent survey said they wanted birth control pills available without a prescription if deemed safe and effective. They're already available over the counter in more than 100 countries. The move was opposed by the Catholic Medical Association.
The medication should not be over the counter. I think a doctor needs to be counseling and discussing this with patients if that's what the patient is choosing.
The approval comes amid increased focus on birth control since last year's overturning of Roe v. Wade. The FDA reports of the more than 6 million pregnancies in the U.S. each year, almost half are unintended. Opill contains the hormone progestin and must be taken at the same time every day to be effective. Common side effects are irregular bleeding, headaches, dizziness, and nausea, as with many birth control pills.
This is a very safe option. It may not be the perfect option for many people.
French drug maker Perrigo hasn't announced a price for the pills, which are sold in 28-day packs, but says it will make them affordable and provide Opill at no cost to those who can't pay.
The pill will be available beyond pharmacies like this. You'll be able to get them at convenience stores, grocery stores, even online. The FDA says they will be available to anyone of reproductive age without parental approval. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Houston.
Usually, the over-the-counter medications are less expensive than prescription drugs, but it's unclear if insurance companies will cover Opill. Well, that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves a few thunderstorms across the area this morning. They will eventually move out of here, but they could play a pivotal role in our thunderstorm chances later this evening. We'll talk more about that in your forecast when we come back.
Arrangement funeral plans at Bath Naylor and Frisco Funeral Home. Call us today.
Right now at 6:30, KOAM's Jasmine Knight takes us to Cherokee County, Kansas, where the Old Mining District finds the Environmental Protection Agency monitoring lead levels.
We've got some showers and thunderstorms out there across the area. One of these definitely large and a little bit on the strong side. We'll take a look at those storms and the impact they could have on our weather later today, coming up.
Also, the city of Miami, Oklahoma, and the Ottawa County Farmers Market gave local kids something to jump up and down about in the form of a jump rope contest.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:30. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. I was just telling Amber, I was like, we need some jump ropes. I used to be like halfway decent at it. That was a long time ago. I used to be able to hula hoop too, and that
I used to
just
love
doesn't
hula
work.
hooping.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness, so fun.
Lots of ways to stay in shape back when we were kids, you know?
Yeah,
Not as many these days.
I'm
Because now
not
you gotta
as fluent
run.
now, yeah. Right. All that cardio and stuff.
Yeah, it's a little more effort, I guess, these days than it was when we were younger. So, well, we do have some scattered thunderstorms out there, and these scattered thunderstorms could play a pretty pivotal role in our thunderstorm development later this evening. So let's start up over in eastern Barton County and getting into northwestern Dade County. We have this little storm here, and I call it a storm now because we're starting to pick up a little bit of lightning, and it continues to lift off to the northeast. So Stockton, if it holds together, you're in line next. It's not strong, it's not severe, no need to panic, but if you're out on the lake or if you're outdoors this morning, just be prepared for a little thunder shower. This big guy, he's a bit on the strong side. He's got some wind gusts up around 40 miles an hour and some small hail. Ton of lightning, and it is just a large cell that's starting to move out of Chautauqua County and getting into parts of Washington County, and even this a little bit on the strong side with some gusty winds in parts of Nowata County as well. This activity again was moving off to the northeast, but in the latest frames you can see now it's kind of turning back to the southeast, and this activity here, this big cell, was moving east, turning southeast. It had a little guy spin off of it, but he's kind of dying out, moving off to the east. Now, those thunderstorms could play a significant impact, or have a significant impact on our storms tonight. As of right now, very low tornado risk, a low to elevated hail risk, and an elevated wind risk for everybody, with these hatch marks indicating the possibility of significant winds, 70 to 80 miles an hour. If these storms work over our atmosphere, they eat up all the energy, we may only see a few scattered showers and storms this evening. It could be on the strong side, but that'd be about it. However, if our atmosphere recovers and builds more energy as we go into the afternoon, we could see a much more potent line of strong to severe thunderstorms, and that's what this future track believes is going to happen, is with this line of storms, here we are at 9 o'clock, sweeping through the area, and again, damaging winds, and we're talking possibly significant damaging winds being the primary threat with that. So we'll keep an eye on exactly how that will unfold this evening, and we'll keep an eye on this morning's storms for you as well, and have another full look at your forecast here in a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. The Environmental Protection Agency is making its way down to Cherokee County, Kansas to continue monitoring lead levels. It's been a concern in the old mining district for generations. KOAM's Jasmine Knight takes a look at the effort to address the problem.
The former Tri-State Mining District, located in southeast Kansas, mined lead and zinc from the mid-1800s to the 1970s. Today, traces of lead, zinc, and cadmium can still be found in Cherokee County.
With 100 years of mining also comes 100 years of mine waste. Now, waste has been distributed throughout the community in some means by natural means, and in some ways by anthropogenic means. So that means like moving the material around.
Years ago, the EPA completed a major cleaning effort to remove lead waste from Cherokee County. However, if you still have concerns about your property, contact the EPA for a consultation.
Generally, we'll collect the soil samples, and then we provide those results to the property owner, along with an explanation of kind of what the levels are and what that means. Each one of our Superfund sites, we have identified levels at which cleanup would be required on a property.
As far as lead contamination, it can be hard to detect, but it's very harmful, especially for pregnant women and children. Symptoms of lead poisoning include slowed physical growth, hearing, learning, and behavioral problems, as well as nervous system damage.
There's things like hand washing, very simple things. There's, if you're tracking material in from contaminated areas on your property, making sure just to sweep and vacuum the house. Blood testing for children, that is a common one.
Overall, the EPA advises residents to stay informed and take the proper precautions when needed. Reporting in Baxter Springs, Jasmine Knight, KOAM News.
The EPA also offers lead testing for properties at no cost for the resident. Check out their website for more information. The Carthage City Council says they want to improve the lines of communication with the Water and Electric Plant Board. This follows in the wake of a back and forth between the board and the council that led to some confusion about whether the utility workers will get pay raises. As you might recall, at one point the council decided to dismiss the board members, then reversed that decision under the public pressure. The mayor hopes that better communication can help the city avoid similar conflicts in the future.
The board had given the general manager the authority to develop the salaries and approve approved, and they approved them through him, which was not communicated. We were not, that's where the miscommunication was.
The mayor says once the council receives the results of the study, utility workers can expect to see the wage increase in the next year's budget. Some area folks learned a lesson in culture and heritage. On Thursday, Missouri Humanities hosted a cultural heritage workshop in Joplin. It was a way for community members to brainstorm ways to increase engagement and better use of community assets. The day consisted of group discussions, activities, and a two-part presentation.
How to better recognize your cultural heritage assets, whether it be historic sites, buildings, stories, that kind of thing. So we are doing a lot of different exercises, worksheets, just to kind of better understand your community's story, your community's heritage, and how to best utilize that.
The workshop was free, and the workshop also discussed Route 66 100th anniversary in Joplin. Kids in Miami jumped for joy on Thursday. The Iowa County Farmers Market hosted a jump rope competition. There was different parts of the event, including longest jumping without breaking and how many jumps you can get in 30 seconds. They also gave the kids a chance to learn some new tricks.
There's basic tricks, of course, you can just jump up and down with the rope, but you can certainly get even more involved with it. You can do crosses, you can cross your legs. We have different aspects in jump rope. There are power moves where you're going on your hands and you're flipping around. You can release the ropes all around the place, and you can manipulate it, wrapping it around your body, combine dance with it. It's just really fun.
Everyone who participated received a free jump rope, and the winners earned gift cards. After the competition, there was a performance of the jump rope skills by the Learning the Ropes group. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. It's Friday, and you know what that means. We got Shannon Becker in the live studio to help us learn what was this week's big three stories. What do you think they were? Plus, Chris.
We have got some scattered thunderstorms across the area. Those could impact our weather later today. We'll have another look at that forecast a little later. We'll be right back.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
That's your...
Well, welcome back. We got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big three news stories of the week. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning. Live, local, what's happening where you live? It's number 3 this week. Joplin News First, as we're out and about. A head-on collision, 2 Ford F-250s. In fact, a felony DWI for one driver, that dark-colored pickup truck, felony DWI, and then an 82-year-old man was struck head-on in the white F-150. Sadly, day before yesterday, the 82-year-old man died in a hospital, Springfield area hospital. We anticipate charges to be stepped up to felony fatal DWI.
Yeah, don't drink and drive.
No, yes, that's a theme of this week, it seems for sure. Our number 2 story, Joplin News First, another serious crash this last week that has now ended in a fatality. A driver of this, it's kind of an SUV sort of minivan looking thing, went off-road at 249 and ramped off of the ramp. It was very bizarre what happened. After rear-ending a Jeep, it went off the highway and then crashed into a dump truck that was driving down the road. It happened at Newman and 249. The driver was in the hospital for many days and then passed away over the weekend.
Oh no.
And our number 1 story, 97 South. Okay, another felony DWI. Can you believe it? Oh goodness gracious.
Wow.
This was a helicopter that landed at exit 33 on I-44. It happened late Sunday night. A man from Springfield, now charged felony DWI, rear-ended a vehicle with 8 people inside. All 8 of them were transported to Mercy Joplin with minor injuries. The driver, though, that's charged felony DWI, he was flown to Springfield for medical care, and there's no update after his last update of serious condition. And our bonus story of the week, 96 years old, Columbia Elementary School, which has had structural damage and structural issues for years due to undermining. And the whole area of North Heights and Roanoke neighborhood is undermined. The building has been planned for years to be demoed after it was replaced this last year. In fact, Dover Hill Elementary opened up at the beginning of this year. It combined West Central and Columbia Elementary schools. And so this neighborhood school came down this week, came down really fast. So say goodbye to the past and hello to the future. It's unsure what they'll do with the property. The last two properties, when they had to raise elementary schools, became they were sold to a private developer who put in residential homes. That's your big three live and local stories of the week. Joplin News First.
Well, I definitely know the community is feeling for that of school. I was seeing on Facebook, everybody was just talking about memories and stuff.
But if people were reality check here, if you stood on the second floor and you're up at the front windows, you could see all the way down to the first floor. So the wall had separated. Now they knew it wasn't shifting anymore, but nobody wants to keep the kids there.
Let's not send the kids in.
Yeah,
good call.
Things are rather different. It's great to be able to save the world and stuff like that, but it's just not feasible to do every building. So.
Well, thank you, Shannon, for talking to me, and we'll be right back.
Show or Parsons today.
Time for some Friday birthdays here in the 4 states, and we are going to begin in St. Paul with Decker Vitz celebrating number 4. Happy birthday, Decker.
And you got Gabriel Lance celebrating 10 years today in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
And Allison Splector celebrating number 13 in Chanute, and she's the one on the right. Happy birthday, Allison.
And Kaden Hudson is turning 13 as well in Chanute, Kansas, but she's the girl on the left.
All right. And Olivia No in Carthage celebrating number 17. Happy birthday, Olivia.
Jenna Babcock is turning 18 years old, a big 18. Happy birthday from Papa and Nana.
And over in Oswego, Colby Collins celebrating number 22 with the catch of the day. Happy birthday, Colby.
Ryan Metcalf is turning 37 in Fort Scott, Kansas. Love from Courtney, Emma, Mason, and Sutton.
And in Pittsburgh, Robin Benson celebrating birthday number 54 with birthday wishes coming from her partner Amy Bartley, Mama, Lisa, Pat, and her fur babies, Spike and Abby.
Mark Bohr is turning 60 in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and a note from his family, we love you. Aww.
And we've got Jim Godinez celebrating number 73 in Chanute. Happy birthday, Jim.
Mary Ann French is turning 79 in Redfield, Kansas. Love the Murphy girls.
And Mary David celebrating number 86 in Walnut. Happy birthday, Mary.
Louise Carthers is turning 100 years old. That is so awesome. You get in the triple digits. She's celebrating Lamar, Missouri today.
And Mike and Missy Sisney celebrating their 23rd wedding anniversary over in Girard with lots of love from Evan, Aiden, Marley, Quinn, and the rest of the family.
You got Jeff and Kim Kane celebrating 39 years together in Columbus, Kansas.
And over in Carthage, Mark Howerton celebrating another year wiser. Happy birthday, Mark.
Skylar Sapporo is turning 15 in Columbus, Kansas as well.
And Tommy Bennett in Joplin celebrating number 83. Happy birthday, Tommy.
Ruth Hell is partying it up in Columbus, Kansas as well.
And our neighbor in Crestline, Terry Sims, celebrating birthday number 76. Happy birthday, Terry.
Betty Maynoll is turning 89 years old in St. Paul, Kansas. She's a resident at Perry Mission Retirement Village, and it's her birthday. Awesome.
And Ellie Westhoff celebrating birthday number 12 in St. Paul. Happy birthday, Ellie.
Joe and Diana Calton is celebrating 24 years together in Pineville, Missouri.
And last but certainly not least, Tina Ohm celebrating birthday number 60 in Pittsburgh. That was a great list. Unfortunately, did you see that there were 2 pages of people without pictures? And we love seeing these pictures of your birthdays and anniversaries. Amber, where do they need to send them?
You can send them to our email, which is birthdays, is plural, at KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, while you're on our website, make sure you take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. It is easy to do, and you get special deals from local businesses. You also get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. So head over to KOAMnewsnow.com, sign up for that birthday club today. All right, let's take a look at what we've got going on currently across the area. And we will show you what's happening currently across the area. It's not this dark out there, fortunately, I guess, because, you know, the daylight's coming up. I know you folks at home can hear me. There we go. Look, it's magic. It's like Star Trek and the transporters. Okay, we've got mostly cloudy skies right now in Joplin. We're sitting at 75. It is muggy, dew point 69, humidity 82%. Temperatures around the region, they look about like this. 76 Nevada, 74 Lamar, Pittsburgh, 77 still in Chanute, 73 Parson, Chatopa, 74 Miami, and 75 in Neosho. We get our morning started. The scattered showers and storms we have this morning should begin to clear out. We're going to go mostly cloudy, near 90 by late morning. And as we head into the afternoon, it's still going to be pretty toasty. We got temperatures low to mid 90s. Heat index values not nearly as bad, but still up there. Could be close to 100 for some of us. Could see a stray shower or storm through the afternoon, but I think honestly the majority of us will remain dry. Now, if our atmosphere recovers enough this afternoon, we could see a line of strong, two severe thunderstorms roll through later this evening, say roughly between 7 p.m. and 1 a.m. That could bring some damaging wind gusts across the area, so something we're going to keep a close eye on for you. We'll drop back down into the lower 70s. Could be a stray morning storm or two Saturday, but we're talking very early morning. After that, we'll be partly to mostly cloudy, 90 degrees. That is our only break from the heat across the region is on Saturday. We start to heat back up on Sunday, partly cloudy. Next week, first half of the week, temperatures climb rapidly back near 100 degrees. We got some pop-up storm chances Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then we'll get another longer break, or at least we're hoping for a longer break from the heat. Once we get into Thursday, we drop back lower 90s, upper 80s out there with some additional pop-up storms possible as we head into next Sunday. So again, we'll keep an eye on the morning storms we've got now. They're starting to work out of the area, and we'll keep an eye on what could potentially happen this evening with those strong to severe thunderstorms as well. We've also got the news you need to know before you head out the door. That's coming up after the break. But before we do any of that, I tell you what, why don't we head up to New York City and see what's happening on CBS Mornings.
Hello to you, I'm Gail King. Coming up on CBS Mornings, our exclusive interview with Tiffany Chen, who reveals a personal medical disorder following the birth of her baby with partner Robert De Niro. And our Mission Impossible week concludes with multi-talented Simon Pegg joining us in the studio. That's coming right up on CBS Mornings.
Roglio, a four-state hero.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out that door. MoDOT gives the thumbs up on repairs made on the I-44 bridge near Fidelity and reopens all lanes and ramps. An oversized crane damaged the bridge last month when it struck the bridge girders. The girders and the concrete surrounding them were damaged, but MoDOT engineers at the time determined the bridge should be structurally sound. Still, it needed repairs, but now they are complete. The EPA evaluates yards in Baxter Springs, Kansas for lead contamination. Parts of Cherokee County are on the national priorities list due to previous lead contamination. Years ago, the area was home to one of the largest lead and mining districts. After a cleanup effort a few years ago, the EPA is back for lead testing. The agency also encourages everyone, especially children, to be tested for lead contamination by their local health center. The Carthage City Council says they want to improve communication between the water and electric plant board. That's in the wake of the back and forth between the board and the council that led to some confusion about whether utility workers would get paid increases. At one point, the council decided to dismiss board members, but then reversed that decision under public pressure. The mayor hopes better communication can help the city avoid similar conflicts in the future. And some area folks had a lesson in culture and heritage. On Thursday, Missouri Humanities hosted a cultural heritage workshop in Joplin. It was a way for community members to brainstorm ways to increase engagement and better utilize community assets. The day consisted of group discussions, activities, and a two-part presentation. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Morning showers and storms should clear out later today, or actually in the next 3 hours. We'll go hot, low to mid 90s, heat index values close to 100, mostly cloudy skies. Then if our atmosphere recovers enough, we could see a line of strong to severe thunderstorms with some damaging wind gusts roll through between roughly 7 p.m. and 1 a.m. Overnight lows lower 70s. A little break from the heat tomorrow as we go back to about 90, and then we start heating up again heading into next week. Pop-up storms, temperatures near 100.
Ooh, 100.
It's going to be hot.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making blueberry lemon ice cream sandwiches in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. How film and TV production could be crippled after the dramatic decision by Hollywood actors to go on strike. That's next on CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, we got a return visit from Shannon Becker and his big 3 stories of the week. Just in case you missed them earlier in the show, or you're just like me and you love Shannon.
Who doesn't?
Of course, right?
And plus, get your motor running and head out to the Mocan Dragway for this weekend's Nitro Chaos event. We got the details, absolutely. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. We will see you back here Monday morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you again today at noon.
Because the more good you